welcome to our first video tutorial for our student data analysis application. This application is Excel based and will require that you use Microsoft Office to operate it. Pretty much we have a problem issuing such an application with numbers, since numbers does not allow for the flexibility that Excel provides for when it comes to Visual Basic Code and macros. Now in this video, I am going to go quickly through the index screen, what data needs to be filled into that screen, and how to make sure everything is set up correctly for this application to work. If you like what you see here, please make sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and subscribe to our Google Plus page. Now to start with, we need to make sure that macros are enabled. In order to do so, you will either click the round Office button at the top of your screen, that is in case you're using versions earlier to 2010, and in case of versions 2010, 2013, you will need to hit your File button over here, and under the File button you will need to go to Options. Once you click on Options, you will get this window, Excel Options. Under Excel Options, you'll need to go to the Trust Center, and under the Trust Center, you'll need to go to Trust Center Settings. Under Trust Center Settings, you will need to click on Macro Settings and make a selection from the 4 selections that you see over here. Now, what I prefer to choose over here is Disable All Macros with Notification. Click OK and then click OK. Once you do that, you should have a message on top of your Excel window stating that you need to enable content. Now, in case you didn't get that message, that means that this application is fully functional and you don't need to enable macros. If you do, click on that button, and after that, your application will be fully functional. Now, to make sure that the application is functional, click on any of these buttons. If you don't get an error message, then the application is working fine. Now let's go quickly through the index screen. Under the index screen, we have 2 main inputs. The first input is the quarters definition, under define quarters to the right over here, and the second one is the evaluation scale. Now the basic objective of this application is to give a teacher the ability to navigate through a student's strengths and weaknesses. And in order to do that, we are going to develop an evaluation scale. Now I left this open in case you need to use different scales. For me, I am using 0 to 10 over here just as an example. Under define quarters, you will need to change these quarters. Click change buttons next to each quarter to be able to edit them, and change the quarters over here in order to make sure they suit your academic year. Now, once you made them suitable for your academic year, make sure you click save again. That way you don't ever, by error or mistake, change these dates into any value if you erroneously type or hit a button on your keyboard. Same goes for the evaluation scale. Change, save, change, save. You can go from 0 to 1, 0 to 10, 0 to 100, it's up to you. 0 and 1 would be just purely either plain good or plain bad, depending on what you define as plain good and plain bad. 0 can be no mistakes, and 1 can be, well, there are mistakes in this area of strength or area of weakness. Now, other than that, on your index screen you have multiple buttons. The first group of buttons is to add data to this application, from assignments to classes and students to grades and finally criteria. Now what you need to do here is you need to add your criteria first, then you need to add classes and add students to those classes, add assignments that you will base your grading on. Again, the word add grades here might be a little bit tricky, but it's not meant to mean adding grades per se, but adding a figure within your scale of evaluation for how good or bad or needs improvement a student is in a certain area. The second group of buttons is the student reports. Now here we have a student report by assignment, in which we can see how a student performed on a certain assignment based on all the criteria I've already added. And pretty much you'll only be able to view this report or view data in this report once you have added grades. The second button is to view a student's performance by date range. Now, under date range, you can add a couple of dates, a starting date and an ending date, within which the system will obtain all the data that you have added regarding all the assignments within this date range. The same goes for by quarter, except the by quarter report will basically pull dates from the defined quarter screen over here. Class reports work the same way, either by assignment, by date range, by quarter, except the class reports are basically for the group of students, the population of students in a specific class. And finally, other reports under which we have comparative classes, in which we can compare more than one class to one another to see which classes are lagging behind and which classes are doing better in a certain area or under a certain category or under all categories if we want to. Now, I use the words finally because the other buttons, the broader buttons, are basically items that are coming soon. They are under development at the moment and we're working on them. The dashboard will be able to summarize key data for you, which you can basically use in situations like a parents-teachers conference, where you can basically pull the data quickly and be able to talk to the parents about it. Importing data, pretty much if you want to import data from an older version once the new version is released, or you want to import the data from other teachers teaching the same grade as you are, you can use that screen, that particular under development screen, once it's developed of course, to be able to import this data into your database and hence be able to compare classes between you and another teacher. Color schemes are basically a screen that you can utilize to change the colorization of all your other screens. Again, it's under development. We're using 256 color palette instead of the 656 color palette to develop it, and it's taking a little bit of time to be able to sort it out, but it is going to be out soon. Now, with the color scheme screen, you can basically change the colors on all other screens, and you can make them all different than one another. They are already all different than one another, but you can do that using the color scheme screen. The background color can be changed, the title color, the table header colors, the auto-generated data colors, be it font or cell, and finally the input data colors, again fonts and cells. Getpicky is pretty much a report. The Getpicky name is pretty much a working name for that report at the moment. We're not sure what name we will use to release it under, but this report will basically enable you to drag any data based on what you want to see. For example, you want to see a specific student with a specific assignment or a specific class entirely, item by item, student by student, for that class, category by category, you can use the Getpicky screen to do that. And last but not least, GetStudent screen is a screen in which you can look up the students in a particular class, for example, to be able to copy them to another location, copy the data of those students to another location, etc. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you soon in another tutorial. Again, if you like this video, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Google Plus page. And make sure, if you don't have the application and you like what you see here, that you buy it on teachers.com. Just teach it. Thank you very much.